Most major league teams today do give black players the opportunity to excel on the field. Baseball as a whole has been accused of failing to provide jobs for black players after their retirement. Jackie Robinson put it this way in his 1972 autobiography. The sickness of baseball is that it exploits and uses up gifted black and brown talent, then throws them away and forgets about them after they have given the best years and best energies of their lives. There can be no question about the contributions black players have made to the game of baseball over the past 35 years. Blacks have set home run records, stolen base records, led teams to world championships, and helped provide a caliber of play that has greatly boosted attendance at both the major and minor league levels. Yet, as of summer 1980, all 26 major league teams were managed by white men. There were no black third base coaches, and very few blacks in responsible front office positions. Frank Robinson and Larry Doby each managed major league teams for brief periods in 1970s, but otherwise there have been no black managers in the majors. Hank Aaron's position with the Atlanta Braves is the most substantive of the executive jobs held by a few blacks today. Are there qualified blacks who are not getting the job offers they want after retiring as players?
So I think there are a number of men that are qualified. I think the Frank Robinsons and the Maury Wills and Jim Gilliam before his untimely passing away, and maybe a Bill White. Of course, there may be somebody I left out, but these are all qualified people. I wish I could answer that question for you, but I can't. I'm not an owner, so I don't have the opportunity to hire a black man or decide who is best for the job. I seem to think a lot of times people do figure that somebody that's had experience in the past is better than somebody that doesn't have experience. And unfortunately, breaking that barrier, as Frank Robinson did in managing, is something that once the doors are open, they should have an opportunity to continue and to grow. Why they haven't, I don't know.
It is true that blacks have not been given the opportunity to, quote, pay their dues. That is unfortunate because there are certainly some qualified blacks. There are, I'll make this statement, there are more qualified blacks than unqualified whites. Now, there's a lot of unqualified whites in my estimation. I believe that there are major league general managers, presidents of major league teams that are afraid of a black man having success in baseball or even in athletics, as far as that goes.
But I've been after Ellie Howard to come in our front office for the last 3 years, and finally he agreed to do it. I think he has the ability. Everything's ability. I don't think it should make any difference whether your skin is black or white or pink. If you've got the ability, you should have an opportunity. Now, when I see a man with the ability, I want him, and that's why I brought Ellie in. I can't speak for the others, but maybe they haven't found anybody with the ability of an Elston Howard.
We have tried, whenever possible, to give former black players jobs. Some of them have accepted the opportunity, some of them haven't. But I really can't speak for the other clubs. Well, I do know for a fact that the commissioner is very interested in this. He has talked to the owners individually, together. We have gone over different applicants, both black and white or Spanish, for different jobs. And sure, we'd like to see more minorities in the front office of baseball, but it really, you have to have the man who wants to work there as well as the organization that has a particular job for that particular person. All of us in baseball realize that we're in the most competitive of businesses. We try to finish first. If we can't finish first, we'll try to finish second, and we try to get the best possible man to manage our teams, to coach our teams, to be the vice presidents, to be the various department heads. So I'm sure that all people are considered on talent, not ability.
Do you think that there are blacks who are not getting the executive and the management positions that they're capable?
Oh, definitely. I think there's people around the league that are still in the league and some that are out of baseball that should be managers and should be in the front offices way before their time has come. You know, I think that Jackie Robinson very easily could have been a manager. Frank Robinson was, but he didn't get the potential. He only had 2 or 3 years to prove himself, and he didn't prove it, so boom, you're gone. You know, there's a lot of smart black individuals that are not potentially the best ball players on the team, but they make fine coaches.
Most of the players, Major League players, blacks and whites or Latins that are making a lot of money in the big leagues, they're not willing to go down and say, be the business manager of a Class A club and learn the ropes. And just like learning the ropes as a ball player, you have to learn the ropes in management too.
Now what happens is that they would like to stay in baseball, and there are a number of stars, both white and black. But to begin at the lower level, it's something that they don't usually want to do, because they have to drop in their scale of pay, and they have to start all over again.
Well, first of all, I don't believe that that is the main reason that the ball players, black ball players in particular, don't want to step down and take a lesser amount as far as money is concerned. They say for the same position, I feel that we should be paid the same amount of money as our white counterpart or whatever. But I think that's nothing more than an excuse to not hire and keep things status quo, you know, the way that they have been, the way that they are, and so forth. But there are plenty of qualified blacks to do management jobs. And
baseball has always been a fraternity where your manager go from club to club, and your owners go from club to club, coaches go from club to club, and they don't want to see a change come about. But I'm sure that I'm going to run into people that sports writers that is going to resent the fact that I'm talking about things like this. But I just feel like you brought up something that at the beginning of the program, Audrey, that touches my heart dearly, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job if, of course, wouldn't be doing what Jackie Robinson, what he stood for, you know. A man died for something, and the last thing I can remember that he said in Cincinnati was that until baseball have a black manager or a black third base coach that's going to always have his head buried in the sand. So I feel like I got to go on and fight for the thing that he wanted me to fight for.
What they're doing with the blacks, when they do put them in the front office, they're saying they're going to be working with the community, out in the community relationships with the community or community relations. And that's not the type of job for, say, a Lou Brock or Willie Stargell and people like that. And this is why you don't see blacks accepting jobs like that, because they're saying, hey, why should I lower myself to those standards? Not that you're turning your nose up at the job, but why should you? Because when the whites get out of the job, out of playing, they get responsible positions in baseball, whether it's the front office, behind the microphone, or on the field. And it's just not done. And I think until they create jobs for blacks and put them in where they can groom them for responsible positions, you're not going to see them in baseball. And I think this all comes down to the owners of ball clubs not wanting to see blacks in these positions.
When I retire from the game of baseball, baseball doesn't owe me anything. I'm going to give to the game as much as I can, and I expect as much out of it as I give, and nothing more. And when I retire, if I'm having a tough time in life, I don't expect baseball to all of a sudden walk up to me and say, hey, you were a great player, why don't I give you a job? It's not, life isn't that way. And because I'm black, I don't want it that way.
Well, they shouldn't create positions, but they do create positions for white players. I know that I've seen it and heard of it on other ball clubs. They didn't have any places, so they just created a new position just to give that individual a job. I'm not saying that they should create a give. I don't think anybody, I don't want to be given something. I want to be able to carry my own weight. I want responsibility. What I'm trying to say is, if the opportunity is there, if there's a job opening, I would like to be considered for the job, and if I'm more qualified than someone else, then I should get that position.
Today's young black ball player wants the opportunity to be the kind of role model Jackie Robinson was. But he wants to know that his career will not end virtually automatically upon his retirement as a player. He feels, in short, that baseball must open its doors to blacks in management and executive positions.